Hello everyone, welcome to Crazy Geeks, and it's me Roshan Shrestha. On this particular session we'll be talking about the use and necessity of if-else-if statement in programming and how they are going to be used in C++ programming language so as to handle multiple test conditions. Before diving into the mechanism of if-else-if statement, let's take a scenario where we need to calculate the percentage of any student by calculating the percentage from the entered mark of around 3 subjects. Let's declare some variables for same. M1, M2 and M3 be the mark of 3 subjects. From that we will be calculating total and calculating percentage as well. At first let's ask for user input. Enter the mark of 3 subjects, C in M1, M2 and M3. After that we'll be calculating the total, which is going to be the summation of M1, M2 and M3. Then percentage is going to be total divide 3. Let's say average is the percentage achieved by student. Then cout scored percentage is value of per. Let's build and run it. Enter the mark of 3 subjects, 100, 100, 100. This seems to be genius. 300 divided by 3, it's 100. So obviously it will display scored percentage is 100. Now depending upon this particular percentage, we need to display the result, whether this particular result is distinction or first division, second division, whatever. Now let's handle it using if statement. If percentage is greater than or equals 80, this is obviously going to be distinction. You can try writing the program for grading system as well. Let me copy and paste this. If percentage is greater than or equals 60, this will be first division, and if percentage is greater than or equals what, let's say something like 45, then it's going to be second division. Anything other than that should be displayed as what, try again. Now let's build and run this application. Let's say each subject's mark is 90, total is 270, divided by 3 is 90. Now scored percentage is 90. If test condition is true, do this. 90 is greater than or equals 80. That's why distinction, which is expected result on this particular scenario. That's cool. It will display distinction. Now on next independent if statement, there is the condition being set as percentage is greater than or equals 60, which is also satisfied. So it will display first division as well. And on next line there is another if statement, 90 is greater than or equals 45, which will display second division. This is pretty much ridiculous result we are generating at the moment. Score percentage is 90, this is distinction, first division and second division. Our requirement on this particular scenario is we need to handle it in certain way that is mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means if one of these results appear, then other remaining ones should be avoided or they cease to exist. For that we can use logical operators like AND operator. Now we can handle it using if percentage is greater than or 80, there is no problem. If percentage is greater than or equals 60, and if percentage is less than 60, no, less than 80. Similarly we can write something like and percentage is less than 60. If that's the case, we can build and run this program and check the output. 90, 90 and 90. Average is 90, is greater than or equals 80, so will be displayed distinction. Here in this particular case, 90 is greater than or equals 60. This one is satisfied, and 90 is not less than or equals 80, so test condition is not satisfied. Here in this part, 90 is greater than 45 and 90 is not less than 60. But the problem here is, if test condition is not true, the program flow will enter else block. Again, ridiculing one. Now we need to set the test condition by writing if for this particular else block as well, which is not so cool, I guess. Rather than entering into all these sorts of numerous checking and use of logical operators, the easy way will be setting the test conditions just like the normal way we handle if statements, and for that we'll be using if-else if statement. If test condition is true, do this. If this particular test condition is not satisfied, then do this one. This makes the task much more easier. Else if, and program is built and run, and there won't be any problem whatsoever right now. 90, 90 and 90. Average is 90. 90 is greater than or equals 80. If test condition is true, do this. Distinction is displayed. In the meantime, 90 is greater than 60 and 45 as well, but while playing around with if-else if statements, we can write any number of test conditions here, and soon after one of the test condition is satisfied, it will cease to check remaining test conditions, which is the exact requirement in our case. Awesome. Let's try entering something like 66. 66 is not greater than 80. Now it will go to the next test condition and check 66 is greater than 60. That's why first division. Similarly, you can enter 55 as user input. 55 is not greater than 80, it's not greater than 60. That's why this particular test condition is satisfied. 55 is greater than 45. That's why second division is being displayed. This is how if-else if statement works. If one of the test conditions is satisfied, then the remaining test conditions are not tested. I hope it makes perfect sense regarding the handling of the multiple test conditions. In programming, you can use any of the suitable ways for your requirement, but while dealing with multiple test conditions, it's very much helpful playing around with if-else if statement. And let's say you don't want to write else statement. I don't know why you don't want to write it, but let's say you don't need to write it, then there is no need to write it. You can directly set conditions like, if this particular test condition is satisfied, do this. If not, then check this particular test condition and carry out this operation. If this one is also not satisfied, then go there and check. If none of the above conditions are satisfied, what will happen? 22 is not greater than 80, not greater than 60, not greater than 45. It won't be displaying anything because we have already removed the else block. Else blocks are needed on those scenarios when you need to display the default information. There is no need to remove default information because sometimes you need to provide the information that makes sense when none of the above test conditions are satisfied. And just before wrapping up, you need to take care of one thing while playing around with if-else if statement. you need to focus on setting the test condition, because if you write something like, let's say, percentage is greater than or equal 60 in first test condition, then you'll be running into obvious trouble. Because when you look up on this particular program, anything that is greater than 80 will always be greater than 60 as well. So if you write something in this way, the problem here would be 90 and 90, percentage is 90, 90 is greater than or equal 60. In normal scenario, the expected outcome would be the distinction, but here we are setting the first condition is greater than or equal 60, and normally or ironically anything greater than 80 is always greater than 60 as well. So this is why you need to take care while setting the test conditions. Okay guys, this is it for now. I hope you guys have good understanding regarding how if-else if statements are used in programming and how they are played around in C++ as well. Before wrapping up, if you guys haven't already liked, shared and subscribed this particular channel, then make sure to subscribe and share it your friends as well. I'll be catching you guys in the next video with some more new stuffs. Till then, have fun, take care.